Hello, I'm here to talk about Senior Project. This is just about the time I was going to introduce it to you if we were still on campus, and since we're not, we're going to forge ahead anyway. It is my understanding that everyone is still doing Senior Project and using it as a requirement to pass English and thus to graduate. So that's what we're doing, we're moving forward with that in mind. It is a research-based project that culminates in a 5 to 8 minute presentation. How we'll deal with that presentation remains to be decided. Uh, if we're not back on campus, you may do a screencast with your slides. You may record yourself presenting. I don't know. We'll figure that out as things move forward. But I do want to get started with the process. First step is to choose a piece of literature that we've worked with at some point in your high school career. It could be back to freshman year, Romeo and Juliet, or Of Mice and Men, Mockingbird, to anything that we've done this year with 84, Macbeth, whatever. So first step is to choose that piece of literature. Next, you will find a document in Google Classroom that lists all those pieces of literature, as well as some of the themes and general topics that are covered in that piece of lit. Once you've chosen what you want to work with, you then need to choose from those subtopics what area do you want to focus on, and then that will lead you into your research question, which will guide the research just like it did with the Renaissance research paper. For example, all right, we read Macbeth. One of the main themes we were looking at was the psychology of guilt, right? What happens to a person when they know they've done something wrong and have to live with that knowledge? So that's your piece of literature, Macbeth, general topic, psychology of guilt. From there, you're going to generate a research question to help you investigate what's happening around that topic in the real world today. So if we're talking psychology of guilt with Macbeth, you might ask yourself the research question, what are the most significant mental health consequences of committing violent crime? All right, so for that, with your research, you would probably be investigating articles in mental health journals, things that have been published by leading researchers there. You might also look at statistics for Department of Corrections, what sort of mental health services are being used in the prison system, but looking at real world stuff. In your presentation, you don't need to make an explicit connection to the piece of literature, but it's always nice to sort of frame that in the intro slide, tie back to it in the conclusion, how your research in the real world fits within the context of that piece of literature. We have the process outlined, and in the intro document that I will have on Google Classroom, these are the due dates that we're looking at. Submitting the research question, that will be Friday, April 3rd. You're going to do that through a Google form that's also going to be linked up in Google Classroom. Just fill it out. You have a spot for your name, the piece of literature, the general topic, and then that specific research question. Again, want to make sure we're on solid footing with the research question as we get started. From there, you need to find your sources. We're looking at a minimum of 4 outside research sources plus your piece of literature. And of course, the research sources, you're going to need to vet them to make sure they are appropriate for an academic paper. Again, if you go back to the databases, EBSCO, or you're using Google Scholar, those have been vetted by people who are far better at this than I am. You can absolutely trust those. If you're finding just random stuff online, then you want to go through that check sheet that we gave you with the research paper, the Renaissance stuff, just so you can make sure you vet those sources and you know that they are trustworthy and of a caliber that you want for a formal academic paper. From there, I think annotated works that I said was the 21st of April. That is a Thursday. So 4 research sources plus your piece of literature. That is 5 entries total for your annotated works cited page. The expectations there will be the same as they were for the Renaissance research paper. Note cards. That is a tool to organize all your information as you're taking notes and doing your research. TBD on how we're going to handle that remotely, but those will be due Tuesday, May 5th. The formal outline for the paper, or rather the presentation, will be due Tuesday, May 12th. Your script, exactly what you're going to say, what words will fall out of your mouth, will be due Tuesday, May 19th. For that script, I'm not going to be reading it as I watch the presentation, be that digital or in person. So you don't need to say it word for word. However, with your script, the expectation is it's going to be what you present in terms of you start with this idea, which is going to lead into this one, which is going to transition to that, and use this piece of evidence. All of that stuff needs to be planned out ahead of time, so you're not just ad-libbing your presentation on the fly. Script will be due the 19th. That's a Tuesday in May. And submit that to turnitin.com. Your Google Slides or PowerPoint will be due Friday, May 22nd. Also submitted to Turnitin. And then the presentations, if we're back on campus, we'll schedule. Those will be May 26th through June 4th. If we are not back on campus, then we will figure out how you guys are going to submit that to me at a later date. Let's see. The research, as I mentioned, I'm just going through the handout now, see if there's anything else I wanted to point out to you. You definitely need to cite your sources. As I've been reading through the research papers, for the most part, citations are solid. A couple of groups are taking some serious hits just because they didn't cite the sources of the information. Make sure you're citing your sources. You'll be submitting the script and the PowerPoint to Turnitin. That way I know everything is locked in. I can do the originality check, and that's how that's going to go. Plagiarism, as always, I expect this is your original work. And if it is not, then you're going to be held accountable for that as well. So there'll be a 0, parent contact, the whole 9. How we'll be doing that remotely. Again, we're making this up as we go. We'll figure it out. But that does not mean I'm going to overlook plagiarism. So make sure it is your original work. If you drop the ball on this and decide, I can get away with it, maybe you will. But if not, then that is a 0 on assignment. That is 10% of your overall semester grade. It acts as your final exam. So it's just a 10% off the top grade. And that could significantly impact your graduation prospects. So make good, smart choices. Start early. I'm going to guess you probably got some time to devote to this. So get out there, choose your piece of literature, choose your topic, and then look for the forms online so you can make your digital submission for that research question at your earliest convenience, no later than April 3rd. If you have any questions, just ask. And as we move forward and due dates get closer, I'm sure I'll throw up some more videos giving you guys some guidance. But as always, if you got questions, just ask. Thanks, guys. Take care of yourselves. Stay healthy, stay isolated, and hopefully we'll be back to normal soon. All right. Thanks, guys.